Ladies and gentlemen, by the end of 2020, the number of internet users in areas outside metro hit 91%, and for the first time ever surpassed TV in both penetration and time spent. Along with opportunities, there is a challenge, particularly with COVID-19 crisis. Digital present disruption, changes, and huge opportunities for those who want to forge new growth paths. So, are you ready for the changes and capture these opportunities? And please join me in welcoming Mrs. Sung, Head of Agency Global Business Group Facebook Vietnam, and Mr. Nghĩa, Head of Knowledge Group and Vietnam.
Hi everyone, wherever you are, I hope you are staying safe and doing well. Thank you for your time. Thank you MMA for giving us the opportunity to speak today. My name is Nguyen Nguyen. I am the Head of Knowledge at Group M Vietnam, and I am here with Sung Nguyen, the Head of Agency Business at Facebook. Today we are going to talk about media consumption in beyond metros, the leapfrogging to mobile first economy, and new growth path for your brands. Before we share our findings with you, I would like to acknowledge the contribution of our partners and thank them for their support in bringing this report to life. Kanta, Google, GopGop, and Decision Lab. The digital transformation has been enabled by the incredibly adaptable Vietnamese consumers in beyond metro areas who are becoming enthusiastic about emerging technologies. So what is beyond metro? As we all know, metro cities refer to the audiences living in 6 key urban cities in Vietnam, including Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, Da Nang, Cần Thơ, Hải Phòng, and Nha Trang. So beyond metro cities are the Tier 2 provinces in Vietnam, including both the suburban areas, which is the capital city of the province, or what we normally call in Vietnamese as thị xã, and the areas outside of the city of those provinces. The majority of findings from this report came from Group and Vietnam Touchpoints, which we conducted late last year. Vietnam Touchpoint is proprietary and syndicated research, which we explore how the consumer interact with media, which in turn allow the marketers to recognize the differences in media consumption among their current consumers and the potential consumers so they can strategize better approaching solutions for their own brand in the sub-geolocations. The first important reason why rural Vietnam represents such a big opportunity is the sheer number of people that currently reside in the rural areas. Today, there are more than 63 million people living in rural areas, representing more than 2/3 of the population. Those account for 60% of GDP with plenty of agriculture, forestry, fishing. With that in mind, we conducted Vietnam Touchpoint in 30 secondary provinces, which cover more than 60% of the national population to reflect a comprehensive picture of beyond metro cities. First of all, let's take a quick look at how beyond metro cities in Vietnam are faring these days. What makes beyond metro cities today even more potential is that the rural consumer are actually getting wealthier. Various poverty reduction programs by the government and companies have helped drive the poverty rate down to 8%, meaning that 92% of rural people have an income which is higher than the poverty line in Vietnam, with the CAGR up 11% between 2012 to 2020. It is expected that income will continue to rise, with CAGR of 7% between 2020 to 2030. As incomes rise, so does spending. Money spending for MCG has risen to 850,000 VND per month in rural, compared to 1.4 million in urban 4 key cities, which was less than half the amount of urban 4 just 8 years ago. Obviously, COVID has been shattering the whole world for the past 2 years, and Vietnam is no exception. Job losses are expected to be quite severe in the latter half of 2021, following the 3-month lockdown period in most cities and provinces, especially in the south of Vietnam. Tourism, manufacturing, hospitality, and small businesses are hit the hardest. Recoveries are expected to resume in the latter half of 2022. The destruction caused by COVID are obvious and damaging. Domestic consumer demand shrank in 2020, while some newly formed habits appear and will be here to stay. The consumers now have created new behaviors, and the behaviors are actually so strong that they have formed new categories. We will speak about how the consumer nowadays are getting more conscious of what really matters to them, for instance, their health, fitness, knowledge. Secondly, we speak about how fast evolving infrastructure of high-speed internet and high penetration of mobile devices have enabled a new era of online connectivity and home-centric entertainment. And last but not least, Jisung will speak about the modern commerce and how Vietnam has jumped right from being a cash dominant to a cashless nation. So first of all, let's talk about the value-conscious consumers. With 2 years living with COVID have forced all consumers to wear masks and wash their hands regularly. So once the lockdown is over, they will tend to keep all of these hygiene-related habits and continue to keep what matters to them even closer, such as eating healthier, spending more time with family, or online shopping. Consumers are forced to stay at home now more than ever, so obviously they will shift their attention to entertainment during their free time. However, education and health continue to be on top of people's minds, with 63% of health searches come from outside of 4 key cities, and 70% of education searches come from beyond metro cities. Consumers are also getting more financially conscious, so they will tend to save money rather than to spend. Some of the changes have reflected such as no more impulse purchases, and consumers are stick with the brands they already tried. Consumers are also reading more into the products that they're buying, so they can make sure that the products that they're buying are high quality, so they can avoid unhealthy products. The number of online commerce users also have tripled in just 3 years from just 6% in 2018. And now the consumer absolutely prefer local brands and they will tend to purchase Vietnamese products, and this even higher in rural. Next, let's talk about the leapfrogging of tomorrow's first economy. Vietnam is fueled by a very young population and a rising middle class demographic. The country has seen tremendous growth and development in recent years. Now, 90% of the population in rural have access to the internet, and 92% of them have at least one smartphone. The findings have broken all misconceptions that rural consumers are not adaptable to the mobile-centric era. That growth really has the improved infrastructure to thank for. Now 66 million users in Vietnam have access to 3G, and 4G availability continues to be expanded. Long gone are the days that the majority of human interaction are done in person. Besides the high penetration of mobile and smartphone ownership, what is particularly interesting is that now consumers they spend more time on digital devices than watching television by 1 hour. Contrary to the assumption that consumers in rural Vietnam are not familiar with non-traditional media, there is an increasing use of digital media consumption across multiple channels. So for the first time ever, the internet has surpassed television in both penetration and time spent. This trend is consistent across all age groups and as well as geographic regions. A consumer now spends about 2 hours and a half on average each day staying online, ranging from being on social media for 20%, chatting with friends for 60%, or watching online videos for 14%. Social media remains the most popular activity, with Facebook remains the king of social network with an impressive 97% penetration, increasing another 5% compared to 2018, followed by Zalo and YouTube. Consumers also have formed a new set of habits on social media, such as watching stories from friends and family, shopping via live stream, and interacting with fanpage owners. OTT has taken up in rural in 2020, with online videos continuing to grow. 80% of the penetration comes from Gen Z, with almost double the increase of growth coming from 2018, 48% compared to 80. And Facebook had closed the gap with YouTube thanks to the introduction with Facebook Watch in recent years. Consumers in urban cities tend to watch online videos more in the evening, while in rural, Facebook is preferred watching across the day. YouTube records a single peak after dinner time about 8 p.m., while Facebook records 2 peaks, one in lunchtime after 11 a.m. and one after dinner time after 8 p.m., which implies that Facebook is preferred during lunchtime as a video consumption platform on top of being a social media platform. Also, just among the heavy users, Facebook also registers higher time spent per section than YouTube. 93% of rural consumers tend to consume online videos on YouTube at 86%, and also on Facebook about 46 times a week. TikTok is a new player in town and has attracted all attention, especially from the younger generation. Facebook is also preferred as a platform for short-form videos, with the behavior being formed just right before COVID and has led into 2021 and remained the top platform during the fourth wave of COVID outbreak in Vietnam. Casual gaming is interesting. Casual gaming is one of the industry that has benefited from people staying at home. So now they increase the daily active user by 20%, and it's particularly more popular among the younger generation from 15 to 34, equally among male and female. People are staying inside, so they're having more free time than ever, so they will tend to read more, especially during the uncertain time. Consumers in rural most likely look for news from local publisher sites or Facebook. In rural provinces, Mama seems to be the top favorite platform. with 47%. Google is still dominant in the search engines. However, a very big part of consumers now they have used Facebook to look for information that they need, and the consumers also have shifted their attention to YouTube so they can search for video format information such as recipes for their meals or workout videos. Zing MP3 is the platform that consumers listen to music on the most, following closely by YouTube. Next, I will transition to Tisung, who will speak about modern commerce and how Vietnam is ready to be a cashless country. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I hope you are as excited as I am learning the fast changes in consumer lifestyle in rural that Nghĩa just shared with us. What held true yesterday might no longer valid today, and this is so true when we approach consumer outside metro city in Vietnam. Technology transformation has been enabled by Vietnamese highly adaptable digital consumer who are becoming enthusiastic about this technology. With the further accelerated of COVID, I believe the speed is even faster now. What perhaps particularly interesting is the leapfrogging of consumer to mobile. Outside of metro city, many Vietnamese first interaction with the internet is through the use of a mobile app. Today, I'm very humbled to be here to share a few learning from our partnership with Nestle and Starcom in unlocking the potential of rural Vietnam. Perhaps some of you here have seen this slide before. What we learned from the Group M Touchpoint study is Facebook have the highest penetration outside of key metro city. However, that is not enough. We also need to answer marketer if Facebook is effective versus TV and other digital platforms. And so, together with Nestle and Starcom, we picked Maggie and conducted a cross-media study with Kanta to evaluate Facebook effectiveness during the 85-year anniversary campaign. The campaign ran across the common channel including TV, outdoor, YouTube, and Facebook. And the result come out very clearly that Facebook is the number one medium in delivering brand impact, awareness, to consideration, and brand equity. And the result, not only that, the result also showed that Facebook have the most cost-efficient channel to deliver reach in rural. So with that in mind, what we did next is to suggest Maggie team separating rural planning with national planning and also look at other fundamental elements of a campaign to drive impact beyond reach. So in this case, we're looking at frequency and the mix of creative assets. Using 1 year data of own campaign in 2020, we know that for any national campaign, our system will deliver unequally between key metro city and outside. What we achieve is less reach and more frequency in rural, and this, of course, will also neutralize the intent of Maggie. So on the slide here for Maggie, on average, we achieved about 5 points less on reach in rural versus in key metro city. While the reverse happened for frequency. The frequency delivery in provinces is about 1.3 times higher in versus key metro market. That learning, we set up other tests in Q3, and this time we ran 2 tests with Mido and Maggie. The test with Mido is only target rural markets and with a higher frequency level, around 8 times over a month. The results show a clear uplift in both ad recall and message cut-through. This proves our rural approach model that we need a higher frequency for challenger brand and for brands that are in battlefield. The other test that we did with Maggie is to look at both reach and frequency and also the creative mix of the campaign. So what we did differently, at the frequency level, we increased it from an average of 5.6 times a month to 8 times a month, while still maintaining the optimal reach planning. Secondly, we invested more in the long-form creative and branded content ads on top of the normal feed and story. What came out is astounding, and even to our surprise. As we can see in the 4 bubbles shown over here, when we are comparing a national campaign in January with this campaign, where we set up 2 different campaign targeting metro city and rural separately. The ad recall lift with the higher frequency is almost 6 times higher versus the previous campaign. We also got a very high message cut-through, more than 5 times versus APAC norm with the investment in Facebook in-stream and branded content ad. The result also show with splitting the campaign into key metro city and rural, we are able to deliver the impact stronger in rural versus the national campaign. We are very excited with this learning and looking to work and partner with brands and advertisers in Vietnam to experiment more on this journey. And now I would like to invite Mr. Vũ Trần, Marketing Manager of Maggi from Nestle, and Mr. Anik Syed, Deputy Managing Director from Starcom, to share some of their takeouts from our test and learn journey in rural Vietnam.
Hi everyone. As you already know that rural is very important for any business in Vietnam, especially for Maggi. We are very strong in urban as a top 5 most chosen food brand in Vietnam. How we can leverage that strength in urban to go rural effectively. Understanding that consumer in rural going more online today, and through our compelled learning by working with Facebook in previous campaigns, so we have chosen to work with Facebook again on this Go Rural for Maggi. And through this project, we have learned something interesting. First of all, Facebook system is really well designed to deliver the reach. And also, not only for on-the-go format, but we also investing in longer form like branded content as well as in-stream ad that can help to deliver more compelling brand stories, and that can help to increase the brand equity. In short, having the right mindset about pioneering things, exploring things, and setting the right agenda for learning, that really enables us to go forward more effectively and more confidently. Thank you so much.
Greetings everyone. My name is Anik Syed. I am the Deputy Managing Director at Publicis Media Vietnam, and I'm here to talk briefly about a recent collaboration project that we undertook with Facebook. This project was all about making our media plans more effective on the platform, and from a regional standpoint, how we can deploy the Facebook tools to make sure that we are winning in rural and we are deploying the right level of media across different provinces and objectives. So broadly, there were 3 different approaches. The first approach was for brands operating at a national level. These brands usually had rural as a key strategic pillar that they wanted to drive, particularly for this year and for the coming years. And taking the example of Nestle with brands like Milo and Maggi, we undertook cross-media studies, and we also undertook different test and learns in terms of weights of different province groups, and that helped us drive better results and helped us learn and understand the market better. Secondly, there were certain brands who wanted to focus on certain provinces. This was either from an expansion standpoint or from a business contribution standpoint. We leveraged this with advertisers such as L'Oreal and AB InBev, who categorized and prioritized certain province groups which were extremely crucial to business. And when we went ahead with that, we saw great success, and we've been using that over a period of time now. And finally, the third approach was an initiative we crafted recently to maximize the brand growth amidst the COVID uncertainty. It's all about situational planning, where we group certain provinces based on 3 parameters. The first one was the social distancing level in that particular province. The second one was the business contribution for that province, and finally market intelligence. Overall, all these 3 different approaches have given us great success across different objectives, and please do reach out to us if you're interested and you want to explore this further. Thank you.
I would like to highlight Vũ and Anik's message here on having a pioneer mindset to enable fast learning and win consumer in rural. Brands can reach their consumer through mobile and influence brand mental availability. So what's about physical availability and infrastructure readiness in rural? Another strong shift in consumer behavior that I would like to share today is the acceleration of commerce and commerce platform outside of key metro city. Year 2020 marked a new milestone in rural Vietnam with a drastic change not only in the shopping behaviors but also in the expansion of online shopping. and mini market replacing the traditional mom and pop shop in rural. Almost half of consumers are now buying online, and around 40% are now buying from supermarket and mini mart. Online shopping grew dramatically, not only in shopper base, but also in the number of transactions, and is 4 times higher versus like 2018. Not very different from urban. The top popular platforms are Shopee, Lazada, Tiki, and Sendor. Facebook is ranked top as the most popular place, mostly for resellers, small brands, and as a channel for exploration. With the acceleration and convenience of e-wallet, online shopping is much easier now. E-wallet is believed to hit like 55% of Vietnam population in 3 to 5 years. And with the extended lockdown and COVID situation, the number might be even achieved earlier. In fact, with the recent boom of e-wallet player in Vietnam, the transaction value is predicted to hit 30% and at par with Thailand and other markets in Southeast Asia. With many consumers buying through chat app outside of key metro cities, we also observe the same shift to non-cash, and non-cash is actually now surpassing cash payment in secondary city. Cashless is getting a boost in Vietnam since the outbreak, with more than 50% of shoppers saying that they pay less in cash. And again, e-wallet coming out clearly as the most preferred type of payment for delivery, while COD reduced substantially. Of course, the pandemic had driven a reduction in spending for consumers, and they actively looking for better value for money and saving in every single purchase. Consumers are also anticipation of the possibility of the financial difficulties, and so working to ensure themselves through better money management and access to fast credit. Do consumers behave the same when it comes to online shopping? The answer is no. But perhaps most interesting is how consumers shop online now. In the Bain study that we conducted last year in May, 70% of Vietnamese consumers they don't know what they want or where to get it when shopping online. This is perhaps due to the abundance of choices. More than ever before, brands need to work harder to find consumers and make the offerings stand out. At the same time, we found that Vietnamese consumers are very appealing to visual, and more than 80% of consumers ended buying after they discover the products on video on social. Branded content advertising or advertising with KOL endorsement is getting much more influential as well in Vietnam. According to the recent research done by Kantar earlier this year, consumers are much more receptive to content from creators and prefer this type of advertising over traditional ads. When we are looking at different regions, we see that consumers in the north are much more proactive in looking for more information on social before making any purchase. Website and store browsing also key prior to making the actual shopping. Another element that worth mentioning is when consumers moving online, direct interaction with brand is becoming more important and increase the likelihood of buying from a brand. As a summary, I would like to share a quick recap of the commerce landscape and shopper in rural. Mobile has become a way of life, and consumers are much more open when shopping online. Value for money and convenience continue to be the key drivers. More than ever, brands need to inspire and streamline the shopping experience to stand out and to win consumers in rural. A positive news is we also have platforms expanding to rural with us. With the very recent 99 mega sale, we partnered with Tiki to run the mega sale campaign, targeting provinces outside metro city to acquire new shoppers. With only 9% of the campaign investment, we have seen a strong uplift in rich in southern and Red River Delta area. This expansion has contributed remarkably to the campaign performance, as you can see here on the two very important KPI of the campaign. app add to cart, and web view content. I would like to end my sharing with this picture and quote. I believe more than ever, marketers need to adopt a challenger mindset and behaviors to win consumer and tap on the new growth path. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Mrs. Sung and Mr. Gia. Ladies and gentlemen, and next session, that is CMO panel, with the topic Shape the Future with the Evolving Consumer Behavior.